Ah, there you are.
Hello,
Now I
again. Oh my
uh,
goodness. So sorry about that. I mean, this is,
yeah,
like I said, it's the first time I've ever tried anything like that. And I expected to have a few hiccups. So I'm glad I'm doing it with you. I was just thinking that we have learned a lot of new
you've gone quiet now. I can't hear you.
things. Can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. Obviously I was too far away. Said I came.
There we are.
Yeah,
That's fine.
put up the volume just in case that does anything. Yeah, I was just saying that while everything was rebooting, I was thinking about all the things that we have learnt together over the 20 years that we've known each other in this friendship and writing journey of ours. So this is another new thing.
Yes, absolutely. And I remember you so much at Swinburne.
Yeah. Well, you
That
do.
was fantastic. That was
Yes.
fantastic.
Our
Yes,
PhD journeys.
yes.
Yeah. So,
That was great.
well, that's probably an interesting question to explore because a lot of writers do opt to do the creative PhD. What do you think about it? Is it a worthwhile thing for us as
Oh,
writers?
absolutely. It was very worthwhile for me. It was very worthwhile for me.
In what way?
And I found that it was absolutely fabulous for me personally. Um, Coming from leaving school at 14 and going from VCE to PhD was a fantastic journey for me personally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from there because I had a similar
Mm.
academic early life too. I had to leave home at 17, so I wasn't able to complete my high school education in a family home. I had to do it when I was a young mother with, well, I didn't actually finish my high school. I actually ended up being allowed into university as a early leaver when I was 22, and I had two young children, and then I got pregnant the first year, and yeah, so it
Mm.
to actually have that PhD, yeah, it does mean lot to me.
It does. It does. It means that being going to work at 14
Mm,
and learning a trade,
yeah.
which was hairdressing,
Mm,
and being a hairdresser for many years until my son graduated from university.
yeah.
And I went to his graduation and I realised there was a very big gulf between us.
Mm, mm,
And that's when I went back and did VCE because we had free learning then for
yeah.
older women.
Yes.
And that was fantastic.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, that was absolutely, and it started me on the journey, and I just loved learning.
Yeah.
And I realised I had a brain. Up until then,
Mm,
hairdressing was looked down upon.
yeah.
That you didn't have a brain, that you took up hairdressing because there was nothing else available to you. And my parents always considered put her into a good trade, you know, that you'd only get married. And I can't hear you again.
Oh, I think life.
That's it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, this is interesting. I wonder why we've got a problem with the microphone. I think life experience is vital for writers. We have to live a life. And I really think that hairdressers are in a very envious position as human beings because you hear so many stories. And I know that you were talking
Right.
about using your experiences as a hairdresser for the novel that you are currently writing. If you want to talk about that in a minute, that would be lovely. But it's just, you have a gold mine of people coming in, pouring out their life. I mean, I always felt going to a beautician and a hairdresser is on par to going to a psychologist. In fact, I prefer to go to a hairdresser or a beautician rather than a psychologist, because at least I actually come out of there feeling much better.
That's so good.
So yeah, so with your hairdressing background, how much did you draw on that for your writing over the years?
I did draw on it, and I found, and I'm still drawing on it. I still am. And it's part of my life, it's part of me, and it's what I'm about. And I'm definitely into inspiring or trying to motivate other women to write their stories.
Yep.
So I thought I'd better write mine.
Yep. And is that the core? Is that the heart of your writing? Is that you want to motivate and inspire other women to look at other ways of being?
Definitely. Even if they grab an exercise book and put it in, just thoughts into an exercise book. They're actually recording their life story.
You teach,
and they can sort it out later.
Yep.
They can sort it out.
You teach a course about this, don't you, Glenice?
Yes, I do.
It's aspiring writers about. I just realised I'm touching my face, which is what you're not supposed to do.
Not supposed to do. Yes, I know.
Not to. Yes. So yes. So you do it. You teach aspiring writers about exploring their life stories and how they can write it. So what sort of advice do you give to them about how to make that all their thoughts and all their memories into actually a cohesive narrative?
It can be hard for them. It is difficult. I'm working at a community house, and they're jotting their stories down. Now, the idea is to blurb it down first.
Yeah.
You can always revise it later.
Yeah.
You can always make it into a cohesive story, and you find out who your reader needs to be. If you're writing just for your family, it's a different story. It's a different story. But if you're writing for publication, then you have to go through the publication process.
Yeah.
And that can be very involved.
Yes, it's very involved. And how do you answer the question, is that when you're writing about your own life story, it's not just your own life story, it involves your siblings, your parents. How do you answer that question about what you can tell and what belongs to you to tell? I mean, and
I think it's your story. You write it the way that you feel.
Yeah.
And I think that people can write their own stories.
Yeah.
If they want to counteract what you've written,
yeah,
and they think they're coming from a different perspective, that's fine. They can write their own stories.
We all have different point of views.
Write it your own way.
Yeah.
Because I remember going to my brother when I was writing Pickled Pie, and I asked him about our family life, and I thought he'd grown up in a different family.
Yeah.
Because he was coming from 3 years older, being a male, and a different perspective.
That's exactly right. And we do have...
So I had to write it from my story, my angle, and not be involved and not ask people what they thought.
You have a different way of constructing, even though you use your life experiences, and we all do with our storytelling. We draw from our own experiences into our stories, but with your novels, that you have really tapped into your own experiences, and I mean, you've changed it fictional, you've turned it into fiction. And you have a quote in Pickle to Pie, which would be lovely if you could share that about how this is how you actually construct your stories, that it's fiction, but it's also using facts from your life.
Yes, yes,
What
that's
was that
right.
called?
I had to change into fiction
Yep.
because I thought I gave all the main characters different names.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I actually constructed it as fiction.
Yeah.
And the same with What Time Is It There?
Yep.
I did the same thing with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are the?
But did you like the overarching voice
Oh, I
of
did.
the older
It's
Diane
I
writing
love
the
the
novel?
fact. I love the fact that Something Missing is the book.
And I can't hear you
All right.
again.
I love the
That's
fact.
so,
It's really frustrating, isn't it? I wonder if I need to switch to a different microphone. I don't know. Can you hear me now?
yes, I can hear you very well now.
This is very strange. I'm
Mm.
staying in the right. Anyway, I was just because I've read both. I mean, I've read the earlier version, which was what was it? I've forgotten what it's called now. Oh,
There's
Something
something missing,
Missing.
yeah,
And there was
yeah. And this
there
one is
were
called
there
What
was
Time Is It There?
there was definitely something missing in Something Missing. Now, in what time is it there? It's complete, and you have. I mean, it's the novel that you wanted to write, which is really fantastic. That's what's now published. So, did you want to talk about how when you're marketing a book, authors do have to listen to publishers, even though they sort of think in their heart, "Oh, I don't want to do this," but they have to do it because they're in a contract position, and they end up with something that it's not really the book that they hoped to step out in the published world. Did you want to talk?
That's right. That's right. If you go with a publisher, you can't put out the book that you want. It's what they want.
Yeah.
And what fits in with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the point I think I've got to make. Whereas if you self-publish, you can actually put in anything that you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you self-publish, you still need to get a cover designed for you by a designer, and you pay for that. And you still have to get a format done.
It has
And
to
you
be
pay for
professionally
that.
done, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to be professional. If
Yeah.
you want to publish, it has to be professional. It has to be edited.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, but these are things that people don't realise.
Yeah.
Many people don't realise.
Yeah.
But
Once it's out there,
I started on this writing journey very late in life. I was going to be a sociologist, and then all of a sudden, the only thing that fitted in with hairdressing was fiction writing. And one comment was I put a short story into the Judah Watton competition.
Yeah.
And it was highly commended. It didn't even win. But I thought, oh, someone likes it. Next thing I know, I'm off on this tangent of writing. And I've loved it. I've loved it. Absolutely loved it.
That was your first effort to write. Well, you wrote a short story, which eventually became that novel, your first novel.
Yeah, because I did professional writing and editing at TAFE.
Yeah, yeah.
I did at TAFE, professional writing and editing.
And that was
great.
Pickle to Pie was, the story of its journey to publication is very inspiring. Do you want to share that story about how it actually ended up being?
Oh, Pickle to Pie, that short story grew into a novel.
Yeah.
And it was after my father's death that I found that box of postcards
Yeah.
in his wardrobe. And it revealed to me my hidden German heritage. And he had hidden it because the name had been changed before I was born.
Yeah.
Right? So the name was changed and he denied his German ancestry. I always thought we came from Belgium. And and here were these postcards written in Old High German.
Yeah.
And I discovered that.
Yeah.
And so I used those postcards, and that's what put me into epistolary fiction.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost sounds like a movie. I can see it now. The woman covering the box of secrets hidden away for many, many years, and realizing that the identity that she thought the family belonged to was a lie, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
So it is an amazing story. But when you first wrote it, you entered it into the Victorian.
Oh, yeah, but you inspired me to do that.
Well,
You did. You did. You said,
I'm
get it in there.
glad you listened to me.
And I remember catching the train up and putting it in on the last day. And it was shortlisted for the Victorian Premier's Literary Award for an unpublished manuscript.
Yeah, we had a good night.
But when it was published and it won the Allura Press Fiction Quest, which was the instigation of Dominique Heck, she actually headed up Swinburne, and she was looking at doing PhD work in Swinburne, and she asked me if I'd like to go over there.
Yeah.
So this was when I was doing my master's at Melbourne.
Yes. Yes.
So it was great.
I remember that.
I loved it, and I thought, yes, I'll take the next step. I'll go.
The next 5 years trying to convince me that it was something I should think about.
That's something you should do. Yes.
And I did. And I don't regret it.
You did it, and you got through very well.
Yes. Yes.
Now tell me about this other book that you're writing at the moment called All Manner of Things.
Yeah.
Now tell me about that.
That's my 4th Tudor novel, and
I know.
It's the conclusion to my Catherine of Aragon story, which is the first book was Falling Pomegranate Seeds, The Duty of Daughters.
Yes.
Falling Pomegranate Seeds is the overarching title of both works.
Yes.
Because they tell the Catherine of Aragon story through the point of views of different personalities. So the first book was told through Catherine of Aragon's tutor, Beatrice Galindo. And the next one is told through Catherine of Aragon's best friend, Maria. And it's going to be a really, really thick book.
How many words? How many words do you think it'll be?
It's over 160,000 now.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I was hoping to publish it in September, but I really don't know if I want to publish it in 2020 because this year's been such a terrible year.
It's been a terrible year. Yes.
And I'm just feeling like maybe I'll wait until the beginning of 2021 because I'm self-publishing it too. It does mean I'm putting my hand in my pocket to pay for things, and so leaving it a bit longer gives me more time to work out my budget and work out the sort of promotional plan, which is really, really important for even people publish with traditional publishers. They should have a promotional plan in place, and they do get a promotional plan in place thanks to the fact that they've got a marketing department behind them. When you self-publish a work, you are your own marketing department, which makes it
That's right.
interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it is really. So there'll be things that I'll need to decide on, you know, how much money am I going to use out of my own pocket to promote it. And it's a bit, it is like a gamble. These things can work to your advantage. My second novel, I spent $1,000 on promoting it, and it sold really, really well. So I don't regret all that money. But I spent the same amount of money on The Duty of Daughters, and even though that book sold well, it didn't sell to the same extent as my second novel,
Right.
which is probably still my bestseller. So I don't know. It is
It's hard. It's hard work.
It's hard, and you just have to know what you're taking on, and you've got to do these things properly, and you do have to have a plan in place. And so that's, you know, at the moment I'm working out my plan, working out how much money I want to be happy to spend on promoting it. And so by putting it off until January, which I'm hoping will be January, I'll be in a better position to do everything that and also there'll be lead up stuff going on. Yeah, but at the moment I'm just doing a final edit of it and polishing it more as we do. Before a work is published, you've got the opportunity to fine-tune it and do what you need to do to ensure it's as good as it can be. And because this is actually the first novel of mine that I've actually self-published first. I'm of course a bit nervous because it means that, you know, I've got to trust myself that I know enough to say yes, it's ready to step out. While with the other ones, they were published with really good little small publishers, and so they went through rigorous editing, and also, of course, your publisher does act with small publishers. They always have been critical friends as well. You know, I've had the same situation as you. I've had to make you know, the publisher will say, I'm not happy with that. I don't want that your book to be published with this bit, and you have to chuck it out because of that. But yeah, we'll change things. Yeah,
That's right. You do. I found I had an English editor.
Yeah.
The first time it was published in Australia. Tickle to Pie was published in Australia. Whereas Made Global in England, I had an English editor who said, "What is a Lamington?" And I remember making it a homemade cake.
Yeah. I got sad about that because you were telling me, and I thought to myself, why do you need
and the doona became a continental quilt.
Yes.
So
things that they don't, because we are in a different culture, and because there's just some slight changes in understanding from one culture.
But I didn't realise what the editor and what a small press publisher actually did. And they actually arrange for you to have, they take over.
Yeah.
Now, the work admittedly isn't the same.
Yeah.
But they take over and they supply an editor and they format it all and they do the cover. Right? You're involved, but they do all that for you.
Yeah.
When you self-publish, you have to do it yourself.
Yeah. Both you and I have realised how it's not as easy as
it's not as easy as you think.
Yeah. It's
to get it up to a professional standard.
Yeah.
But what I loved about it was that in what time is it there? I can use the title that actually came from Mickey, and I can, or from Maggie, as she is in the book, and I can actually, um, it's just so easy
Yeah.
to actually make it what you want it to be.
I'm so glad you had the opportunity to be Virginia Woolf with your own work. She was actually published by her husband, and
Yeah,
I always laugh about the times. I mean, Virginia Woolf's an amazing author and one of
that's right.
the writing.
That's right.
She took her books back, and she's
Yeah.
done exactly what you've done. We've
Yeah,
made the work into something that's goes on to a different path, because you've now deepened it.
yeah,
You've deepened
yeah.
it in a way that makes it more complete, and it's the work that you wanted to see published.
Well, it was quite funny when I did the PhD night at Swinburne.
I remember.
Yeah. When I started that, I had to come up with something to write about. So I chose that book that I wanted to write about, and I had the overarching voice of Diane writing the novel. And I thought that was fun, and I like that. I like that. Because it's the fun stuff. I had the ship's birthing, 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 at the dock, and I thought, wow, one letter, berth. One letter can make such a difference.
Yeah. And how did you find getting your American voice correct? Because you did such a great job with Hank and Maggie.
Because Cindy edited it. Yeah, Cindy edited it, and she said, "We don't say maths, we say math."
Oh, so this is Cindy Valla, who
Cindy Valla,
amazing editor, amazing.
She actually edited it, and she is American, and she picked up things in the American voice that I needed to correct.
Can you give us some more examples? Exactly.
Yes, I can. Oh, absolutely. I had
wanted to read
a pull-along camper. A pull-along camper is what they would call it in America. We'd say a pickup camper.
Yeah.
But they say a pull-along camper. Things like that. The spelling was different. Humorous was H-U-M.
They don't like you for some reason, Americans.
No, they don't put you. And the same with neighbours. B-O-U-R-S. Neighbours. I had to check the spelling was right, particularly in Maggie's letters to me. And the reason why we didn't, in Pen Friends, you tell what you want to explain with Pen Friends. You don't go into deep and meaningfuls. You just keep it light, you keep it fluffy, and you keep it what you want them to know.
And it really hid this pen friend relationship, a very, very complicated relationship. They're both very complicated women.
Yes.
And they were hiding so much from each other, especially Maggie. She hid so much from Diane.
Yes. And it wasn't until the end of the story that they actually found out. Spoiler alert. I like that.
We're not saying what the secret is. You have to read the book to know what the secret is.
That's right. That's right. You honestly do. But it can be, you know, fascinating, and it was an amazing journey for me. And Mickey actually influenced me to go back to school.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was her learning and her ability to communicate that actually got me back into class.
You know, I was, when I was reading Something Missing, and also What Time Is It There, and I was thinking about how would I have coped with this person who accepted me,
Yes.
accepted me as a pen pal, and then would send back my letters corrected.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, it was quite interesting how Diane, the character, you know, she put up with that initially, but then at the end of it, she got quite aware that Maggie, what she presented in her life was really of less substance and than what Diane's life came about. You know, Diane really made a life of substance.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's really good. I had a fun thing, because when Mickey would ring up, she would say, "What time is it there?"
Yeah, that's where the title
comes from America to Australia, and it was always difficult. And so that's why the book was called "What Time Is It There?"
Yeah. It's nice to recognise when I was reading it through and recognising some of the parts of your life that I've actually witnessed as well, and also to see how you also changed it into fiction. I'm still.
That was interesting. That was an interesting exercise.
Yes,
To change it
I would have liked to have you include me when you went to the presentation for the unpublished manuscript award, because I thought me being there, getting more, because we had such beautiful red wine, and I still remember the tablecloth. Maybe that's why you left it out, because the tablecloth got quite splotched with red by the end of the evening, because I was enjoying it.
No, you just can't deal with everybody.
No, I know you can't. I know you can't.
And this was my parting from Mickey, was saying, but they were there.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, but you can't deal with everybody in a book.
Of course
you can't. So you have to choose what your main characters are and stay with them.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah,
otherwise
it is important.
The reader. And
otherwise, you've got a cast of thousands.
Yes, that's right. And that's again also trying to find the story and constructing the story in a way that's going to keep the.
That's in the revision. That's in the revision. That's not in blurbing the story down, which is what most people do. They blurb the story down for family and friends.
Yes.
And they give them a record of their history, which often they don't know. You think they know, but they don't.
Yeah.
And they probably won't look at it until they're well over 50. And then they'll be interested. And they'll want to discover their roots.
Yeah.
But until then, forget it.
Yes.
Forget it. They're too busy with their lives.
Well, how did your sons, did they forgive you for melding them into a girl? One.
I don't know. I haven't asked them about it.
They didn't mind that.
They didn't mind that. They didn't
see it as your
decision. And I don't think my brother has read Pickle to Pie or the other one. I honestly don't think he's read.
Oh, well.
And he's not interested, and I think that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, we've got to accept these things. I mean, that's
part of
the writer too. There's many people in my family who have never really read any.
They
You and I
haven't.
share husbands who are not interested in our
That's right. That's right.
um,
Not interested. I remember walking downstairs with an A4 sheet in my hand, and Alan saying to me, "You're not going to read it to me, are you?" No. So I go up and I lock the door and I stay away and I write whatever I want to write.
yeah,
So that's fine.
yeah. I'm the
It
same.
gives you a sort of freedom in a way.
It does, doesn't it? It does.
It
I mean,
does.
I think if you had a husband who was also, or I should say, a partner, who was also a writer, and they're wanting to act as your critical friends, it might cause problems.
It might cause problems.
That's for sure. I do want to talk
But
about.
I found that doing the PhD at Swinburne meant that I had to complete that novel within 3 years.
Yeah.
So that was a very good exercise for me.
Yeah, well,
I
the
found
same
that
with my
great.
novel, who was, I can see it right behind you. Hello, Kate
Yeah.
Carroll.
Thank you.
Yeah, having that time. I mean, I actually, because I had observed you, because you were 2 or 3 years ahead of me with the PhD, because you were at the end of your PhD when I started mine, and
Yeah.
I could see that you doing the scholarly part of it as well as the novel wasn't really working very well. And I actually said to my supervisors, I'm going to write my novel first. I'm going to spend the first 2 years of my PhD just focused on, I'll do my journal, which is obviously very important to do your journal for the exegesis, which is what they call the scholarly part of the creative.
That's right, the scholarly part, the academic part, yes.
It was bliss to have that 2 years to, not, of course, you and I were fortunate to get a scholarship, which was fantastic. To have that 3.5 year period where I was actually supported by my university to write, and the first part of my writing for 2 years was something I wanted to do, which was the novel. Yeah, I think, when I look back on it, I think that novel benefited so much from me not having to work in other jobs, and also to have that major focus. I have to do this work having that scholarship given to you gives you a great sense of responsibility, that you have to prove that you're worthy to get that money.
Exactly right.
So yeah, it was wonderful. Sometimes I wonder if I should put my hand up for another PhD to get us. Oh, would be nice. Oh dear. Anyway, it's but it is yeah, it's an interesting journey to do a PhD at a university. When you get to the scholarly part of it, most people saw it as to get that exegesis right was a hard journey for most people. Very few of us found that part of it easy.
And that's why you need your supervisor.
Yeah.
You really need a good supervisor,
yes.
or supervisors to help you through.
Yeah. Exactly. Well,
because you're coming from, I didn't have an academic background, so you therefore, you're starting behind the 8 ball, as it is, and you therefore have to catch up very quickly.
Yeah.
And get yourself into academic mode.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I had done my BA and my diploma of teaching, and then I did a graduate diploma in education, and that was my decision. That actually did start my master's in education, and then I thought to myself, what am I doing? And that was when I decided that I really, because actually the graduate diploma that I did, that was when I did the first draft of Dear Heart, How Life Give This, and that is when I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to just write. I want to write novels. And so, but of course, it's not as easy as all that, is it? When you, as a writer, especially women writers, we have to fit everything in. We have to juggle all the balls of family and everything.
That's right.
Yeah. So did you find that hard to be a woman writer?
Yeah, I did find it difficult. And I found I used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I would work till 6. And then I'd go back to bed for about half an hour or an hour. And everything was quiet, everything was peaceful, and I could actually concentrate on what I was doing.
I did this.
Whereas the rest of the day would be taken up with interruptions.
Yes, exactly.
Where I had uninterrupted 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that's the way I did it. But I went back with an idea that I was really going to excel. I wanted to excel. And VCE, I did well. And then I went to Monash, and I'm alumni to 3 universities now. It's great. It's absolutely fabulous. Monash, I did an undergraduate, right? Melbourne, I did a master's.
Yeah.
And Swinburne, I did the PhD. So I'm alumni to the 3 now.
Well, I've got 3 universities too, but I don't have Melbourne University. I've got La Trobe, and I'm very proud of the fact that La Trobe was the one. La Trobe was the one that allowed me in as a 22-year-old without BCE or anything. So I'm very, very grateful to La Trobe's early leaver scheme for that. Changed my life.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But I love writing because I feel that's where I can actually be myself.
Yeah.
I can lose myself, and I can actually be me. Whereas the rest of the time, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, all these things, a friend, you know.
Yeah.
And you're fragmented. Whereas when you come back to writing, and I can write, you are actually yourself.
Yeah.
And you're writing as yourself.
Yeah. I know exactly.
That's fantastic to have something that is your own.
Yeah. I think
it's your identity. Your identity.
I think we're very, very fortunate in that we have discovered our passions. And
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah.
I still am. And it's something that you can do forever.
Yes.
You can sit down and write forever.
Of course. Which is something I love about writing.
Whereas you can only have a limited time as a hairdresser or a limited time as a mother.
Yeah.
You're
always a mother. You're always a mother. And you're grandmothers. Yes.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And whereas you can actually be yourself and you can write.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think there's nothing involved except a chair and a computer.
And our imagination.
That's all you need. And your imagination.
Yes. And our love affair with words, which is
nice. A love affair. That's so true. That's so true. And you do love words.
Exactly,
Mm.
exactly. Now tell us about this new book, which I really hope you do finish, because it's going to be hilarious. I do hope you want to do it. I mean, I know
I
you
thought,
started it.
why not have fun? Why not have fun?
Yep.
And I'm at the stage where I just want to write about two hairdressers.
Yep.
Because I know about that. I
Mm.
know about that industry. Two hairdressers, and one has multiple affairs. And I think that's fun. And I do. And
Yep.
it's about growing up and growing older. And she was always going to leave a pretty corpse.
Yes. So,
She said, it's too late now.
I love it. I love it. I do hope you finish it, because it's going to be so funny, and you are such an expert with dialogue. And you have written plays as well. And I remember the play that I went to. Oh goodness!
Oh, that's right.
That was
Yes,
such
that's
a
play.
wonderful play. So funny.
You've written plays yourself.
Well, I'm talking about you at the moment, darling. Um, Hair Today and Here Tomorrow. What was it called?
Yeah. Hair Today and Gone Tomorrow.
That was so funny. You had some fantastic characters.
It was a send up. It was a send up, and it was a play on Alzheimer's.
Yes.
And it was based on my time working at a retirement village.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. And people would walk in with tea cozies on their head. And you'd think, oh, they're heading for the funny bin. Funny farm, as we used to say. And instead of that, it was that they were cold.
Yeah.
So the nearest thing they had was a tea cozy. So they'd put it on their head.
I love the story about the person who said to you that I'm going to my autopsy tomorrow.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. She meant biopsy, yes. She always used to get words mixed up. And she'd say, I'm going to my autopsy tomorrow. And I'd think, oh, okay. And then another time, she said to me, oh, I love a bit of nookie. And I thought, whoa, wow.
Well done to her.
Okay. And she said, yes, a bit of nookie is absolutely beautiful. I found out that she was meaning gnocchi. It was a potato-based Italian food. And she'd been to an Italian restaurant and she'd had gnocchi.
Can you imagine being in a restaurant and saying, can I please have some nookie?
Can I have some nookie, please?
Oh, how funny.
Oh, look, it was a laugh a minute. Oh, and there was a guy that really did have Alzheimer's, and he went to the ATM and said, I've won.
Oh, there's some wonderful stories there.
Yeah, wonderful stories, and they find their way. You know, there's triggers that happen that, you know, like talking to you, where stories come out.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun. And
well, that's one
you have a laugh about it.
Yeah. One thing I like about having mobile phones now is that I can use the note. What is it called? A notebook in the mobile phone. My mind's gone. Talking about Alzheimer's. But I can jot down. I can jot down notes. And I'm been using it now to jot down ideas for poems or starts of poems. You know, so it's far superior than my old way of taking a pad with me with a pen and then realizing my pen doesn't work. And then I'll think to myself, yes, I will remember this idea when I get home, and I'll get busy with my, come home and be busy with other stuff, and then I'll think to myself, there was something I was supposed to.
That's right.
Oh,
That's right. But a friend of mine, and I thought this was a great idea because I used to pull over and write down in an exercise book. I used to write down a thought that I'd have, because you do find you walk around and inspiration comes to you from so many angles.
Yeah.
And you can be driving and you suddenly think of something that is fascinating. Now, a friend of mine said, why not tape it?
Yeah.
So you just turn your tape recorder on in your iPhone.
Is your phone on your phone
Yeah.
too, the voice?
And you pull over to the side and you just tape it in.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it is
really
great.
good. Really great, fantastic tool. Now I'm looking at the time and the fact that my computer is now saying I've got 12% charge,
Okay.
which means that we do have a little bit of time left. But I think actually we've gone over the. I thought Zoom you only allowed 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Got longer.
Yes.
Did you want to read a passage from Something Missing for us, or before we leave?
Oh, I hadn't thought about it, but I will. I'll pick up.
We'll say.
Yeah, and I'll have to put the glasses on.
Okay.
So I will put the glasses on. I'll put the glasses on, and I will read a little bit about it. And this is the older voice of Diane.
Yeah.
Night belongs to the novelist. You straighten your back and stretch weary muscles. A bold, bright lamp highlights the desk. In the shadows, folders and documents festoon every inch of the floor. The filing cabinet, a hanging garden of paper. The only time available in your busy life to write the book is between 3 and 6 a.m. Snores, loud and sonorous, sound sleep for him at last. A cough. He will soon stretch, yawn, and reach for you. You glance at the folder marked Maggie, containing how many years of letters? Can it really be 35? The last 2 years of her letters are in loopy script, scrawled on bright yellow paper. Why yellow? Maybe the lone general store in Gateway, Arizona, only stocked one colour. Why didn't she buy a white pad on her monthly shopping trip to the larger town of Jeriton? Maybe yellow was easier on 90-year-old eyes. The first rays of sun gild the topmost leaves of tall Melaleuca gums and spread a promise of hope beneath dark clouds. It will soon rise above them, lost to you for another day. But today you know why you do this, why you write until your eyes won't focus and your head tips towards the computer screen, hoping for some support. You lean back in your padded chair and smile. The black words beam back at you. Half an hour ago, they were blood red, chaotically dripping and slipping down the screen. Now they make sense and positively glow. The beginning of this work in progress finally feels right. Your fingers caress the screen. How joyous when the writing flows.
Oh, I love it. I love your writing. That's brilliant and very inspiring, and it speaks to me as a writer.
But it's so true. It's so true that sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
And you know in your heart when it's working.
Oh, you do.
Oh, you know
it's bliss.
Right.
It's
and
bliss.
I had fun writing both Diane and Maggie in third person.
Yeah.
But that is written in second person.
Yeah.
And it's addressed to you, and it's in short extracts, only a page long.
Yeah.
So it's really good, and you can maintain it. You can maintain that second person voice for that length of time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on
Oh, thank you very much.
getting published the book that you wanted to have published.
Yes,
Really
thank you very
wonderful
much. And
achievement.
also, thank you very much too for
Oh,
all your help over the years.
oh, thank
And
you. It's been mutual. It's been mutual. It's been a wonderful, wonderful meetings of mind and heart and mutual passions. And it's been wonderful to share the last 20 years of our writing journeys with one
Yeah,
another.
that's fantastic.
Yeah,
It's been fantastic for me.
yeah.
So thank you very much.